Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Abby and I am a homeschooling mom of 4 kids. They are finishing up pre-K4, 2nd grade, 5th grade, and 7th grade this year. And last year I started this tradition on my channel. Well, now it's tradition because I'm doing it a 2nd year in a row of sharing our curriculum hits and misses with you at the end of the school year, toward the end of the school year. This has nothing to do with the curriculum itself. This has everything to do with like what my kids really connected with this year or what I didn't put the effort into for various reasons. And just kind of doing a recap of our school year in that way instead of just sharing a generic recap of our year in general. So if you are interested in seeing what we did well this year and what totally slid right off of our agenda this year, then give this video a thumbs up and stay tuned. Today's video is in partnership with My Pre-K Box. You guys have seen this on my channel for almost 2 years now, I want to say, at least 18 months. I've been sharing My Pre-K Box, and Annabeth, my youngest daughter currently, has really benefited from having these boxes sent to her every month. I've also benefited greatly because it gives me a chance to connect with her without having to do much prep work. She loves doing school like her older siblings, and she loves the hands-on activities in My Pre-K Box. So I love that it just comes ready to go with everything that I need, and we can sit down and play school together. So with My Pre-K Box, you get monthly themed preschool learning boxes. Their ultimate preschool learning boxes are packed with fun, engaging, no-prep math, literacy, sensory, and craft activities to promote school readiness. So every single month, you'll get a box that has exciting math games to enhance mathematical thinking. You get some engaging literacy activities that help prepare kids for reading, sensory play, which stimulates exploration. Annabeth loves all the different sensory play that she gets every month. There are always tools to make learning hands-on, just different manipulatives and things for them to use, and all the game pieces that you need for every single game that they're playing. Thematic crafts that spark creativity. You can also get duplicates for siblings if you'd like. There's a grown-up guide to tell you everything you need to know about everything that's in the box and how to use each activity. And then something that Annabeth loves is the Craft Lovers Upgrade, which gives her 2 additional crafts to enjoy for a very small fee. So I'm showing you the last 2 boxes that we've received last month and then this month. So she got the zoo box last month, and then this month she got the weather box and all the crafts that go along with it as well, the Craft Lovers Upgrade for both of those boxes. She loves My Pre-K Box. It takes everything in me to tell her to press pause so I can do a quick unboxing for you guys every time we receive one of these, because she wants to dig into them right away. And kind of like a little side note, I'll mention all of my girlfriends who have preschoolers who are in our little co-op now use these boxes as well, and they are all big fans. It's just such a hit for that 4-year-old or so age range when they're really wanting to do school, especially if they have older siblings, but you just need something that's prepped and ready to go. So I will put a couple of discount codes that I have in the description box down below. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for this ongoing partnership. It has really blessed Annie and I hope you guys take a peek at it and enjoy it as much as we do. So like I said, my hits and misses for the year have nothing to do with the curriculum itself. It has everything to do with my preparation or effort, or my kids' enthusiasm level, or just outside circumstances. So this year I'm having a little girl in June. So I am 31 weeks pregnant right now at the time that I'm filming this. And so while I'm really grateful that my due date is in the summer, so I don't really have to like shift our school year around very much, I had all of the symptoms, the first trimester symptoms and all of the 3rd trimester fatigue that happened during our school year. So that would be like the main reason that some things just didn't get done well this year, I would say. Also, year to year, things just change for my kids and things that they connect with. And one of the things specifically that I show you, I'm really excited that they finally really connected with. It just changes year to year. So while most of our curriculum choices are pretty consistent year to year, some years they're just done well and some years they're just not done well at all. But that doesn't mean that I'm getting rid of the curriculum or that I'm saying, oh, it doesn't work for us at all. It just means that better luck next year. We'll pick up the pieces and we'll try again. Homeschooling is just constantly evolving and changing as our kids grow and as we grow as educators and parents, and things we value and put effort into just changes year to year. So I'm excited to share what some of our top hits were, and then I have 3 misses. I mean, I'm sure there's more. If I were to go back at the beginning of our school year and look at our curriculum choices, I would probably be like, oh, we didn't even touch that, or oh, we did that really well. Why didn't I pull that into this video? But I just wanted to kind of go right off the top of my head the things I know that we really connected with and that I know I'll remember this school year for, and then also right off the top of my head things that I had like a sense of guilt and kind of I released around January, like, so that I didn't carry a sense of guilt with me for the remainder of the school year. Like by January or February, if we weren't doing something well, I just knew that we were gonna let it go and pick up the pieces when the next school year began. And some years, actually, one of the things that we didn't do well last year happened to be one of our top things this year. So I will go ahead and let you know what those things are now. So our first hit for this school year was our Bible time. And Bible time is something that I had used a Bible curriculum for years. It is called the Picture Smart Bible. I highly recommend it. It's a wonderful curriculum. I really loved it. But this year, as my kids have gotten older, my older ones have, my husband and I have really wanted to instill in them a desire to just have their own Bible time. And we started doing that around the time that they actually picked up interest on their own. So it was more of us following their lead than them following ours in that sense. I mean, I'm sure their interest level was there because they see, you know, that it has a place of value in our lives as well. But as far as carving out the time for them, we kind of followed their lead as far as their interest levels grew. And so rather than continuing on with using a Bible curriculum this year, we just slowed our mornings down and made sure that before we start our family subjects, before we start schoolwork at all, that we were having some quiet time and some theology mixed in. And so every morning this school year, we started, every school morning this school year, because not every morning, but we would start our time at breakfast together with doing our Bible time and a little bit of theology or reading devotions. And so that had turned into such a rich time for our family. And I know that it is going to be probably one of the things I remember this school year for most. So while my older 2 would go off and do what we call the soak method, which I will do a video on because I've gotten a lot of questions about specifics on that. And so it will be a really simple video, but I have, like I said, gotten a lot of questions. So I do want to go ahead and make that video. Their soak time is a time where they sit down, read a chapter of the Bible. We don't tell them what book of the Bible to be in. They just pick a book and kind of go through it. I have one who's reading the Bible, you know, in order, and I have one who hops book to book. They read one chapter or so and they write soak. So S means scripture. They pick a passage of scripture to write down. O means observation. So what did they observe about the character of God or the promises of God in that verse? A means application. So how can you apply this to your life, or where do you feel like the Lord is pressing you to apply this to your life? And K is kneeling in prayer. So that's just where they kind of prayer journal and just kind of teaching them how to do that. It's been such a rich time for them. They all have their own planners. I mean, they all have their own notebooks where they have space to write their soak in, and then at the top they can illustrate. My daughter doesn't always, my son always does. And then my younger two, just to kind of train them up in having that space reserved for soak time, I've sat with them and gone through the Jesus Storybook Bible or just a different devotional and allowed them to do illustrated narrations. My second grader has done illustrated narration, and I do ask him to do a little written narration as well. We're just kind of getting to an age where he's starting to fiddle around with that. And then my youngest, I will just ask her as she's doing her illustrated narration, I'll just ask her for a little narration and then I'll write it down for her. So she is the only one I'm gonna actually show you her work. The others, it's very private. On occasion, I've shared on Instagram with permission from them, but it has been such a great thing for us, and I'm so grateful that I took the time to just make space for that, because it felt like we now start our school days around 10 to make sure that they have space for that time in the morning, and where that felt like I was going to be putting us behind, it has been the best decision for our home. So here is Annie's little, which one do I want to show? Okay, so here's Annie's little illustrated narration on Joseph, and it says, Joseph, he's hugging his 12 brothers. That's what her narration was that day. We have another day where, what did she say? Let's see here. Here is when we were studying Babel. I don't know if you can see, or if it's too bright. There we go. And she wrote her little narration on her own. We all love you, Jesus. And I'm not sure why she wrote that with Babel, but here's her little creation story. It's a little flower that she drew, and her narration was, God made Adam and Eve, cars, us, everything, and the whole world. So this has been a sweet little keepsake, as well as just a practice in having quiet time. So yeah, so my younger ones I had with me, which was precious, and then my older two have spent upwards of an hour in their room working on their own quiet time, which has been very sweet. And that is the first hit for our school year. It's not necessarily a curriculum, but it was something that we tried out new in our schedule, and it was definitely a hit. Okay, I have two more hits that are not technically curriculum, but you know how that goes in homeschool. Like, curriculum choices aren't always textbooks. So the next hit that I thought right off the top of my head for our school year was our handcraft this year, and this is by God's grace that I can say this was a hit, and that was gardening. Now, I have tried and failed many times to assist my kids in their desire to garden. I have put it on our schedule twice over the last 10 years of our homeschooling journey as our handcraft, and those other times it was a major fail. I made all the investments I needed to make. It's just the actual skill. I don't have it. So this year, with my kids' desire to garden, we partnered up with a local garden ministry that they have so many acres. I don't even know how many. They grow year-round, which in Florida is pretty incredible if you ask me. They have stuff growing all the time. And it runs based on volunteer efforts, and they provide fresh organic produce to the homeless shelters and the food pantries in our town, as well as nursing homes and some, I don't remember, there's one more place they provide meals to, like an elderly care service, but not a nursing home. So we partnered up with them, and instead of me teaching the kids how to garden, I knew I just needed to learn alongside them, because it's just not gonna happen by my effort. And so we went every other Monday for this entire year, and we just got our hands dirty, got right in there with the other volunteers. We asked questions when we needed to know what was going on, but really what we did throughout the course of the year, instead of instructing them on the handcraft, this is exactly how you do this and this is how you do that, we just learned as we went along. And now that we've gone through an entire year with them, and so one full growing season or one full year of different growing seasons, we have learned so much. We will continue to volunteer with them. We're gonna change the day because they need our Mondays for our new handcraft next year, but we do have another day that we plan to go out there, and we are still going to plan to go out there once or twice a month as we were doing this year, because it has just become a part of our little family and homeschool culture to be out there volunteering and serving. We love all the volunteers, and it's just been an amazing experience for us. It was really great for me being pregnant as well, just to get out there and get some exercise and be squatting down and getting my hands in the weeds and pulling some, you know, beets and cucumbers we were harvesting the other day. And it's been a wonderful experience. The kids have learned a ton about the process of gardening, about organic farming, about farm equipment. My boys have been able to use different tools that they were interested in. I mean, my girls had the opportunity as well, but my boys were the ones who happened to take it up. It's been so great. And the benefit also is that we've been out there with other families who we love, and then we've met other families who we've become very close with. My dad has come out with us every single time. He actually volunteers out there now, even when we're not there. And they've learned about predators, and they've learned about, you know, just different like insects that are out there. They've gotten a lot of pictures to come home and add to their nature journal. So that has been a wonderful experience, and I'm really pleased with that experience as well. Now, that one is a hit by no fault of my own. That was just the only thing I had to do was drive them there and have a water bottle with me. Everything else that we learned was, you know, we were using the village, and as you guys know, I'm a big advocate for using the village in your local area to assist your homeschooling. And so we are so thankful for that garden ministry and just how that has blessed our homeschool and given our kids an opportunity to serve and to learn. And then the last non-curriculum hit has been our Charlotte Mason Enrichment Co-op. We meet twice a month with that group as well. It's a co-op that I started this year, but all I did was start it. It was kind of put together, organized, and the little group of ladies and I who have established this co-op together have really built it to be what it is. Now, like I said, it was only something I started because I made the initial phone calls to get everyone together to talk about it, but every decision that's been made, the way that we've laid out the schedule, that has been done as a group, not by me. But I will put a link up here if you guys want to know more about the co-op. Not a lot in the co-op has changed since I started that. I did get some requests to do like an end of the year, like how co-op went video, and I may, but I'll tell you right now, nothing really has changed. It's been a great experience. So that co-op has been amazing in so many ways. Just pulling together different strengths and spiritual gifts from other families, and their just again with like the whole using the village thing that I talk about, their enthusiasm to teach the kids excitement level, and the challenge of being around other kids, and you know, their narration, they've grown in their narration because they're hearing other kids their age. It's not just like in my household, there's an age gap between each of my kids. So what I expect of each of them is a little more, as you know, from each older child. And so my older kids aren't really being challenged in their narration because they aren't around kids their age very often doing narration. I mean, it's something you do in your own home. And so to be in a group setting that's a Charlotte Mason style group, and to be doing narrations, and to be, you know, reading the same books, and to be just sharing different perspectives, it's just been so good, especially for my older kids. And then for my younger kids, it has just given them more of a sense of community, because we have avoided co-ops for years. We've just kind of met with friends one-on-one to do things homeschool wise. And so this has given them a larger group setting, and it's been really good for them as well to kind of like have a few different voices speaking into their Mondays when we're out there, just different moms. For one of my kids specifically, it's given this child a lot of confidence. this child has connected with all of the moms and dads in the group, because sometimes the dads are there teaching as well. And it has just been such a blessing to our family. So that is a hit as well for so many reasons, but just everything they've learned, etiquette and missionary study and hymn study, getting an opportunity to play their instruments and lead in hymns. We kind of rotate families as far as that goes, apologetics, literature, art, all of that and so many more things, nature study. It has really enriched our school year, and where I could have attempted each of those on my own, and I have in years past, there was such a richness and a depth that was brought to our enrichment subjects because we had that group. So that is another big hit from this school year. All right, moving into the actual textbooks that I would consider to be hits and misses. Now, these are the things that depend on either my effort or my kids' enthusiasm level to be hits or misses. And this is not an exhaustive list of everything we used. If you want to know what curriculum choices we made this school year, I will link my curriculum week up here in the corner. I do that week every year and share all of our curriculum choices. So these are only the things that stood out this year. This is not by any means like the full spectrum of what we used this year. But one of the very exciting things that I can add to our list of hits is Shakespeare. So I have attempted Shakespeare with my kids over the last few years, and we've made our way through it. Some years it just never really gets off the ground. This year has been amazing. All three of my older kids have really connected with this story this year. We did Midsummer Night's Dream. We actually did Midsummer Night's Dream, I want to say 4 years ago, in a big group setting where we were taught from a teacher. But this year we did the Shakespeare in 3 Steps by Simply Charlotte Mason, which this is the only resource I've ever personally used for Shakespeare. And it's just the right time. My kids are at the right age. They've had the right foundation to now be ready to listen, to narrate, to be excited, and they love this curriculum. So the way that this Shakespeare in 3 Steps works, and I will do a flip through. This was one of the requests I recently got for a flip through. Is it's in 3 parts. So part 1 is you read them an overview of the story. So you in here they have it already for you. So you kind of read through in 1 or 2 sittings the whole story. Part 2 is you listen to each act, each scene in each act, and the kids can either take turns reading the dialogue, or you can listen along while they look at the dialogue in front of them, which is what we're doing this year. We're allowing them to just listen to it while they read. They each have a script in front of them to read along with. And then part 3 is you celebrate it by watching a movie or going to a play. And so that's the part that we're coming up to now. So I'm trying to see if there's anything that'll be around here soon. Otherwise, we'll be watching the movie as a family, which they're very excited about. So Shakespeare happened to be a hit this year. It was a surprise hit. I always hoped this day would come, and it has. And so I think this will pave the way to them being a little bit more connected with the stories that are a little bit more difficult to understand or read. So curriculum hit number 1 would be that. Number 2 here, what do we have? I don't know if I kind of listed them in order, or it's no surprise, I'm sure, to most of you that Story of the World is a hit for us again. Now, the reason that this stood out to me is because this year we finished book 4. So we have officially gone through all 4 volumes of Story of the World now. We finished this in March, and the kids have been working on their little projects for their end of the year history presentations. Since then, we really enjoy Story of the World, and this year we only had about 20 chapters to get through this year, which is why we finished it early. But even still, we slowed down and supplemented a lot on our own because we got to some topics that I really love to expand on. So we did the civil rights movement this year. We had Vietnam this year. We also got to, there was one more, like the Berlin Wall, Chernobyl, the Cold War. So we pressed pause and did a big expansion on a lot of those chapters that were shorter chapters in the book. So it made it even more enjoyable. So we really enjoyed this year, and it's no surprise. And I think the reason that we always enjoy it so much is we have the accountability of doing that with a friend. So my best friend and I have been meeting for 6 years and going through a chapter or two every couple weeks together and getting the kids together to do one of the projects together. And so we've been doing that since they were very little, and we had a big celebration. We had cake the day we finished the last chapter together, and they were very excited, and we showed them the picture, and I'll put it up here, the first day that we got together to do history 6 years ago, and then I'll throw the picture up here of the last day that we got together for book 4, and then in the fall we'll start back again with book 1, The Ancient World. Next, I have, this is a huge hit for us this year, Independent Science for Isabella. So Isabella is my 7th grader, and in 7th grade is when it is recommended to do Exploring Creation with General Science from Apologia. If you follow along with the Apologia Science, their kind of timeline. And so many things about, I want to say so many things about this, but I'll kind of wait because it has made me make a decision on science for my younger kids based on our experience with this year. We've used Apologia off and on for years with the goal of one day getting to the middle school science levels. So she's been doing this independently. I've been checking her study guides and giving her the little exams, which exams are new to us now, and she's loving it, so we're gonna continue with it. The reason I would say this was the biggest hit is, number one, it gave her quite a confidence boost to have a subject that is completely independent like this, and she's been really excited about it. But 2, I bought the science kit, and this would not 100%, this would not be on our list of good experiences this year if I had not bought that kit. That kit was the necessary component and the key to us having a good experience with this year, especially because it's independent. You know, she's not quite ready to be so well prepared that she's asking me days ahead of time when I'm making the grocery list for 3 Q-tips, a match, and, you know, an egg. So the fact that the kit comes with almost everything they need means that when she would get to that point, she would go in the kit, she'd pull out the supplies, and she'd be able to carry out the experiment without waiting on me for days. So that's been really great. So I'm so thrilled with this. My son will be in 6th grade next year, so he'll have 1 more year before he's using this, but we will be definitely using this for him in 7th grade, and she will be moving on to the next one next year. Okay, I have 2 more curriculum choices that I would consider to be standout hits from this school year, and then I will get into all the juicy details of what were misses and why. So the first one is teaching textbooks. Again, that one's no surprise. We've loved teaching textbooks for years, but the reason that I consider it to be a hit this year is because this is the first year I'm not teaching math to anyone, because this is the first year that my youngest son is doing teaching textbooks as well as his older siblings. And so we have, you know, a 2nd grader, a 5th grader, and a 7th grader all using teaching textbooks. Now, next year, my daughter will be in kindergarten, and so I'll be doing some math instruction again. But I was just so surprised at how seamless the transition was this year for my son to join in with his siblings. He was so excited and ready to do teaching textbooks. He's been watching them do teaching textbooks since he was born, basically. Since he was maybe 2, my older daughter has been, is that right? I don't know, maybe so. Maybe he was like 2 or 3 by the time my oldest started teaching textbooks. So he has been excited about using this curriculum for years. And so it's just been interesting seeing my kids, like how much more excited they are to use the curriculum now that they have to kind of like pick their time slot to have the iPad to use it. You know, it's always like, I want to do math first, I want to do math first. And so there's been that fun kind of rivalry in our house of who gets to finish their work and get their math done first. And so that's been a total hit. And then an unexpected hit, although I was hopeful that it would be a hit, was our artist study this year. So, and I have another story. I should have made this a tea talk because it's a very chatty video. But This year we studied the Highwaymen, and we started using them as our artist this school year within our home because, you know, it's just, they're local to us, the Florida Highwaymen. They're an amazing group of painters. They have a great story. And I had been waiting to study them until we studied the civil rights movement because I wanted to make that connection for my kids, a local connection. And something really cool happened with that this year. So I knew that by studying them, we would have opportunity to go see some of their work locally. There's a couple of smaller galleries in our area where we can see some of their work. If I were to travel to like an hour north or an hour south, you know, there are various artists who live there, and sometimes there are Florida Highwaymen pop-up like art events. However, this year, at the beginning of our co-op, we were looking for something to do with art together as a co-op, and one of the moms, who at the time said she was unfamiliar with the Highwaymen, borrowed my Highwaymen book and began teaching teaching them to the kids in our co-op. Well, something really sparked an interest in her, and she just took off with it. So her enthusiasm ignited the kids' enthusiasm, which inspired the parents' enthusiasm. And next thing you know, the kids and the parents are randomly like, oh, we're walking to dinner, let's pop into this gallery, somebody's painting in there, they're talking to different Highwaymen. And so then they would all share stories like, oh, they were so excited that we were studying them, or they were so surprised, like they were like, what school do you go to that you're studying the Highwaymen? And it's just something that I'm excited is kind of there's an interest being sparked amongst, you know, I don't know if it's just in our area or if it's on a national scale, but I'm seeing a lot about the Highwaymen around right now. Well, something really cool happened. So this friend of mine who has been teaching the Highwaymen, or who taught them last term to the co-op, they moved on, and now they're doing Winslow Homer this semester. But she recently went to a Highwaymen auction and met one of the original 9, and she said, I gained some confidence. I started talking to him, and he is teaching our kids, our very small group, in person, a private art lesson. And I cannot tell you, I cried when I found out, just because homeschooling is so rich and beautiful, and they get such amazing opportunities like this. Like I said, they are local to us, but they're well known. And so I knew that we'd be able to see their art and maybe talk to someone, but I did not ever think that we would have one of the original Highwaymen at the park with our kids, enthusiastically instructing them. And the fact that my kids are getting to paint along with one of the artists is unbelievable. And I am like so starstruck and just honored and grateful that, you know, the Charlotte Mason method has inspired a love and appreciation for art, for the artists themselves. And it's very exciting. So that is one of the top hits of this school year as well, and I can't wait to share more about how that goes. All right, I'm gonna gather myself now. Clearly I am in my 3rd trimester. I'm an emotional mess, and today especially I've been all over the place emotionally. Everything has made me cry, but especially that. I'm just so excited about that. So I'm back, and I'm a whole emotional person right now, and not a disaster. So kind of flipping the script now, I always group together artist, composer, poet, artist, composer, poet. Like those are the 3 you know, family subjects that I consider to be enrichment when we do morning baskets. We're either doing our artist, our composer, or our poet each day. And we had such a wonderful time with our artist this year, and we had a wonderful time with our poet this year. And we totally ignored our composer, 100%. I started reading the biography a couple of times, and we never got off the ground. And again, we have used music study with the masters for years. It's nothing to do with the curriculum itself. It's just for some reason, I did not get us up and running with our composer this year. So don't be surprised when you see our composer on the agenda for next year as well. Another miss, I have 3 misses. So that was the first one. The second epic fail was geography. And I am really disappointed about this one personally because I loved this curriculum so much and I do wish that this would have worked out for us, but it just didn't quite fit in organically with our schedule. And so it just never, again, we just never got off the ground running with it. There is geography mixed into a lot of what we do. And so I had a difficult time making it its own subject in our school year this year. I still stand by this as a beautiful curriculum, but it just didn't work out for us. Would it have worked out for our family better if I had put in more effort of preparation? Of course it would have. However, it would have felt like sticking geography on as a check the box subject versus just kind of leaning into where it is already a very rich and in-depth and natural subject in so many of our other curriculum that we read. You know, it just, geography happens to be something, and world cultures, that comes up a lot because we're reading missionary stories, we're reading history, we are watching World Watch News, we are doing 5 in a row, and it just comes up in our literature a lot. So it's almost I don't know, it's taken on its own form in our homeschool that hasn't always been an exact curriculum. I do feel the desire to cement it a little bit more just by adding back map drill or something like that. We haven't done in a couple of years, but buying a textbook for it is just not, it's not in the cards for us right now. However, like I said, I do love this. I think it's well done. I think it's beautiful. It's something that I had my eye on for a couple of years, and I really thought this was going to be a good year for us to do it. So I am going to hang on to this and just see if we ever circle back to it. But as of right now, it didn't work for us, and I don't think that next year it will work for us because I'm pretty excited about what we're doing for geography next year. More to come in the future on that. The last miss I actually feel terrible about, and this one is like 100,000% my fault. And you know, I'll blame it on the pregnancy and just my fatigue. I have everything for this. I've used it for all 3 of my kids. It was time for my youngest to start All About Reading this year. I have no excuse in the world that we didn't do it. Literally, I have everything. I didn't even have to prep anything or tear apart little perforated cards because I already have them all. I just didn't get up and get going, and she has been ready to read. She's asking me like, is today the day we're gonna read? So often, like at least twice a week. She'll be like, am I doing my reading today? And she's so eager. I will be starting it like within the next few weeks because my guilt has just overtaken me. But we did not get up and get going with All About Reading this year. Like I said, a lot of moving parts, some pregnancy things this year, and just putting my focus on the older kids' independent work and kind of, you know, not putting it a lot into preschool this year. But she is ready to read. She's so ready to read. She wants to read. And she'll even say, like, she's such a sweetheart. She doesn't even like mean to guilt trip me, but every day she wants to read something, she'll be like, can you read that to me? Because you haven't taught me how to read yet. So I need to get going with it. I love All About Reading. It has been a beautiful experience for me and each of my kids and I. It's been so sweet to teach them each how to read using the curriculum. I'm so familiar with it, so there's no reason in the world that I haven't done it yet, other than maybe just that I want it to be such a good experience. I want to have the time set aside for it and not rush through it. And I just felt in so many ways this year that I was kind of rushing, or like, oh sure, we'll do your reading right now. And I just didn't want that experience. So I am going to be carving aside some time to be doing All About Reading with her because we're ready. She's ready, and I have all the tools in the toolbox to get going. So I need to do that with her. So those were my misses. So those are my curriculum hits and misses for the school year. Let me know in the comments down below what some of yours were. We're still going strong in school. We're not going to be done for a while yet, but I can already tell like how I'll reflect on this year. So I thought I'd get you this video now. If you guys liked this video, give it a thumbs up. That's really helpful to me, and I will see you soon. Bye guys.